Now streaming live on YouTube.
Do we wait 30 seconds after that sign comes on, or does that sign means we've already waited 30 seconds?
Nope, just wait just a little bit longer and you'll be good to go.
Okay.
Okay. I have a feeling it's been long enough. So I would like to call the Calvert City Council meeting of February 8th to order. It is 5:30, a little bit plus. And first, I want to recognize and thank everybody in the passing of our mayor. The display of kindness and affection from the public and all the friends of the family. And just continue to think about the family and lift them up in your prayers as we move forward. And secondly, I would like to thank the council for their confidence and the chance to provide another level of public service and allow me to be mayor. And I'm humbled. I'm humbled by that trust and all the kind support I've received with texts and emails and Facebook, and I really appreciate it. And going forth tonight, remember, this is my first session as opposed to 22 years worth. So let's be kind to me tonight. And with that, I'm looking for a motion to approve the meeting minutes for the January 11th regular meeting.
I make a motion to approve the January 11th regular meeting minutes.
Second.
Have a second. Has anybody got any discussion on this approval, any corrections or anything that should be noted here?
I think she's already noted some corrections, or a correction.
A correction. Okay. What was the correction?
This school typo.
Okay. All right. Typo. Well, with nothing else being said, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. So that regular meeting minutes have been approved. Now we had a special call meeting, February the 4th.
I make a motion to approve the minutes for the special called meeting for February 4th.
Second.
Gotcha. Everyone in favor of, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Hand signal, aye. Okay. Well, thank you for the approval of the meeting minutes. And before we go, well, let's go ahead. Let's get the second reading of the ordinances for Section 5001, the Calvert City Code of Ordinances relating to temporarily filling the offices of general manager and superintendent of the water and sewer department in the event of a vacancy. So this is the second reading.
All right. Whereas the mayor has recognized the deficiency in Chapter 50 of the Calvert City Code of Ordinances relating to the application of the chapter during times of vacancies in the offices of general manager and superintendent. Can anybody hear me?
Yes.
And whereas the mayor has requested an amendment of Section 50.01 so as to allow the mayor to assign the duties of the general manager and/or superintendent to another employee of the city during times of vacancy in one or both of those positions. And whereas the city council has determined that the request of the mayor for an amendment of Section 50.01 of the Code of Ordinances promotes the best interests of the city and the efficient operation of the city's water and sewer department. Now therefore be it ordained by the city of Calvert City, Commonwealth of Kentucky, that Section 50.01 of the Calvert City Code of Ordinances is hereby amended as follows. General manager is redefined as refers to the general manager of the Calvert City Water and Sewer Department, or in the event of a vacancy in this position, the city employee designated by the mayor to perform the duties of the general manager delineated by this ordinance and otherwise. The definition superintendent is revised to be refers to the superintendent of the Calvert City Water and Sewer Department, or in the event of a vacancy in this position, the city employee designated by the mayor to perform the duties of the superintendent delineated by this ordinance and otherwise. No other portions of section 50.01 are affected or intended by this amendment. There it is.
So I have a motion to accept this amendment.
I make a motion to accept the amendment for the Calvert City Code of Ordinance relating to temporary filling the offices of general manager and superintendent of the water board, of the water and sewer.
Second. Am I okay? So Jeremy seconds. Am I redoing myself here or something? Okay. All in favor, or do we need to have a roll call on this?
I have to do a roll call.
Okay.
Okay. Councilman Babcock,
Yes.
Councilman Hale,
Yes.
Councilman Rao,
Yes.
Councilman Harrington,
Yes.
and Councilman Stokes is absent. So they're all in the affirmative.
That concludes the old business on the agenda. Is there, have we forgotten any old business anybody'd like to go back to? We're okay for now? Okay. So I'm going to change order of the agenda right now, and we're going to introduce Miss Kaylee Martin, the winner of our student writing contest.
Yeah, so Kaylee is the winner of our February Youth Voice Writing Contest. You guys should have got a copy of it in your email. It's just really a great read, especially when, mental health is such a priority right now in the world. And to have an 8th grader like Kaylee to be able to write a piece about mental health is pretty impressive. So Haley, I'm going to unmute you. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came to write that essay?
So I'm sorry, I'm nervous. I really wrote that essay. The reason why I wrote about mental health was because I kind of had. She said you had to write about something that you're passionate about. So I was like, well, what am I passionate about other than my talents? So I was like, let's see. I know I care a lot about other people and mental health. And I was like, I struggle with it too. So I could put my own experience into that. So I was like, that would probably be the best thing to write about because I could really put more emotion into it than what some people wrote about politics and things like that, which you can be very passionate about that, but I'm just not. And I didn't want to write about like doing art or singing because I feel like I feel like this is more deep, or I don't know. And I just felt like that's what I needed to write about. And especially since I struggle with it on my own.
Awesome. Now, Kaylee, you're in 8th grade, right? At Reedland Middle School?
Yeah. I am.
Okay. Well, thanks for joining us tonight and congratulations.
Thank you.
Right. Well, it took a lot of courage to write that, and certainly appreciate you entering the contest, and congratulations.
You.
Bye, Kaylee.
I love it. I love the laugh, making me smile already. Okay. Now, I woke up this morning and it occurred to me that there'd be people tuning into this council meeting because we have in front of the council, you guys, we need to select another council member. So I'm bringing that up on the agenda just so people who are tuning in might get a better idea of what the process is going to be and what the council would like to do moving forward here. We're going to have a city council meeting. We have a relatively full agenda, and I thought I'd go ahead and move that up in the agenda so we can talk about that up front. I believe that we are going to have a special called council meeting. Councilman Stokes isn't here, we can go ahead and try to set a date tentative on his agreement. But as far as process goes, we've had to do that in the not so distant past. What, John, you want to talk about the procedures we used the last time that the council used to help select that person?
If I remember right, and Glenda, you may back me up on this one. I think we opened up and took, I don't know if it was resumes or applications for those who might be interested in the position. And then the council reviewed those. I think we did some interviews and then made their decision based on that. And that's, if I remember right, Nita, you might be able to answer. Isn't that exactly how we did it last time?
You're on mute.
You're muted, Nita. You're muted.
I've done that
I
twice
have the
today.
dryer going, so I didn't want you to hear it. The mayor is the one who suggested the interviews. In the past, I don't know that interviews were ever conducted to fill that vacancy.
True, but that's what we did last time.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. So, obviously the council has got to make a decision in 30 days from February the 4th. And so I'm listening to you guys. I mean, would you like to proceed in that manner, and folks who are interested make their interest known?
One of the thoughts that I had with you bringing it up tonight, if there were people who might be interested who were not aware of what the process was, that maybe this is giving them an opportunity to submit their names, that maybe if we could have a meeting next week, but I'm flexible.
Yeah.
And to submit their names, is that as simple as contacting a council member to inform them? Or
It always has been. I mean,
okay, because I've had quite a few people contact me. So I thought that was enough. I didn't know if you all wanted them to call everyone or City Hall.
Well, I think one of the things is that you guys do need to know who the interested parties are. I think that's something the council has done in the past, and I think that's what you're wanting to do now. I would suggest that you just have them make a contact with City Hall, and if you're going to be discussing people, I would think you'd want some sort of a resume. I mean, doesn't have to be totally formal, but maybe something about where their level of interest is, and what their background is, I guess. I don't recall. I know I participated in that last time. I think we had resumes, and there was some executive session, I think, to talk about various candidates and compare. But we could have folks contact City Hall and submit something.
I think I submitted probably not exactly a resume, but a letter of interest. What did Chris
Yeah.
was the same
That's
thing?
what I think so. I think we submitted a letter of interest, and then they called us up there for the special call meeting to interview us and to go through that whole process. And then we left, if you'll remember, and because they went into executive session.
Exactly.
And we didn't find out till the next day or two what actually happened.
And the council was able to review those letters of interest before we called them for interviews, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I don't know if it's up to you guys whether we need interviews or not, but it would be nice to have some sort of organization, like a list at the very least. The letters would be great, instead of people just saying, hey, so-and-so is interested, and just having to keep up with it like that. It would be nice to have a list organized.
Right. And we wouldn't lose anybody that way.
Yeah.
Right. So even if we have just a name of a person that's interested, and my thoughts are you don't want to get too organized. We obviously don't have an application, and
Right.
but at least a list, and encourage somebody to write a letter of interest and present on paper for the council's consideration. Now, if we wanted to try to set a date for that special call meeting, y'all want to try to set a date, or you want to do it via telephone later? I'm trying to facilitate the council.
What about next Tuesday, John? Are there any meetings scheduled?
I can't do Tuesday.
Okay.
I was gonna say, no, there's not, but okay.
I'll be out of town Thursday and Friday this week, but
What about a Wednesday?
Well, Kevin is not available, I don't think. Someone said maybe till next week. Is that correct?
I think we're talking about
Okay,
next
well, I just heard
Wednesday.
Wednesday, so next Wednesday, there's no meeting scheduled for next Wednesday either. If you all are available on Wednesday.
Let's send out like a little group text and make sure everybody can, especially Kevin. Maybe work backwards from him.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I can do. We'll send out a text first thing in the morning and get, or even later this afternoon or evening, and see if we can get a consensus on a date and time. It's still 5:30. Good with that?
Fine with me.
Yeah.
So to kind of get a consensus and communicate what the council's thinking is interested parties, you can call a council member, some already have, and we encourage you to, you really need to call City Hall and get your name on the list. And if you are interested, submit a letter of interest and whatever else you think is pertinent that the council might need to know to make that selection. The special call meeting date, of course, will be made with proper notification ahead of time to the press and to the public. But we're thinking that it is going to be next week. So, sometimes, it gives people some time frame and some context on how to prepare their information. So, if you get something to City Hall, say Monday, by end of the day Monday, that's kind of the time frame. If you may have more time than that, depends on when the special call is, and you can watch. It'll be on the city website too, I believe, on all special call meetings, right? And on the door of City Hall, and in media outlets when possible. So there you have it. Anybody else have something to add to that task that's ahead of you? Okay. So I think we're ready to move on. Okay. So,
hey, Gene,
yes.
when you as you accumulate the list, are you going to try to disseminate that list among the council prior to the meeting as soon as available? Or how do you guys want to do that?
You can just send it to us like you do the council packets so we can take a look at it.
Yeah, I think we should try to give the news as we can, as much notice. But I would say, by Monday morning, expect to have something scanned and to them as far as information goes. And again,
we can scan them in and send them out with the agenda.
Right.
Okay.
And we can send some information ahead of time so people can think about that too. This is my idea. There's no. You guys send it out to all the council members at the same time, but I don't see any issue with getting information as it goes along. But it's going to accumulate a week, and so next Monday we'll see what's going on, and John will send it out, and try to get a tentative meeting set, or the special call set.
Okay, so
should we contact the people that have contacted us and tell them to just call City Hall?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and go ahead and tell them, if you would, go ahead and tell them to just submit a letter of interest as well to City Hall. Okay. That'd be, but just let us, if they will, call us, let us know. We'll know to expect it. So.
Okay, so statutorily, Greg, so we've got 30 days, 30 days from the 4th?
30 days from the vacancy, and that'd be the 4th, yeah.
Otherwise, it goes to the governor.
Right.
Okay. So that's the time frame. I think the council's going to have some good candidates, and we can get that done by then. Okay. Any other comments or questions? All right, moving on. We got the first reading, I guess. Consider the adoption of a resolution awarding a non-exclusive franchise to MediaCom for a term of 10 years.
Right. There are four franchises. You approved 2 of them at the last meeting. The one with Paducah Power and the one with Comcast. Who was it, Glenda? Was it Comcast? Yeah, Comcast and Paducah Power got approved last time. And Linda was just hammering out details of those franchise agreements with the other two entities, Charter, Spectrum, and MediaCom. No?
MediaCom.
Yeah, MediaCom. Okay.
We've
And
got,
so
we've got
what we,
two on the agenda tonight are MediaCon and Spectrum.
right.
Okay.
Right. And you guys just approved the resolutions, and the resolutions then authorize Gene to sign the contracts.
We also have one from
So you don't
Windstream
have
still too, right?
that's still out there. Maybe is Windstream not covered by one that they all changed their names? I can't. Spectrum and Charter are the same entity. Is Windstream the same as somebody we've already got or not?
I don't think so. If we've had
Okay.
Duke Power and Comcast, they're not covered by those two. No.
Okay.
I want to
Then
say
we'll have
Windstream
another-
to the south or something like that.
So we'll still have one more. We'll still have one more to approve.
Well, we've got MediaCom, Spectrum, and Comcast on the agenda for tonight. And I guess what I'm asking, Greg, is there any way we can combine those three as we consider this? Or these are the same?
They are virtually identical. The entities are a little different because Comcast is just a pass through. They're not actually providing any service in Calvert City, and so theirs may be slightly different. But yeah, all you need is yes, you can approve them all at the same. You can approve both of them at the same time if you wish.
So do you need a motion?
Yes.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we approve all three of the ordinances listed regarding cable
Resolutions.
There are three listed, Nita, but
Yes.
one of them we approved last month. It was a clerical error,
Okay.
but one of them was already approved. The two that are being considered for tonight are Spectrum Charter and
MediaCom.
MediaCom. Those are the two. Thank you.
I'll revise that to MediaCom and Spectrum Charter.
I'll second.
And this is a resolution, not an ordinance.
Right. I'm sorry, I did say ordinance.
I just want to clarify, so there'll only be the one reading.
Is there any questions or comments or clarifications needed on what's going on here? Greg, do you need to read anything or add anything?
No, we don't need to read it. If anybody has any questions, we can try to answer those questions, but no, we're okay.
Right.
I was reading it and it says, if the city exercises its right to impose and collect the franchise fees, the 5% fees, we are collecting that?
No, we're not. Right now, we get paid from the state. We have an option. We can either impose a fee ourselves, or we can take a part of what the state collects. And frankly, Linda just does the calculations, and we do whichever one is most beneficial to Calvert City. And right now, we come out better just taking our payment from the state rather than imposing a franchise fee.
Okay, that was the only question I had. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Clarifications? Okay. Do we need a roll call on this one, Glenda?
Now, I can just, everyone vote.
Okay. So all in favor, thumbs up? Thumbs up. Unanimous? Okay. Mayor says thumbs up. I got you. Never. Just joking. All right. Moving right along. I'm gonna move down to item E on the agenda and come back to the carnival rides. Did everybody have a chance to read the letter concerning Hawthorne Apartments?
I did.
Okay. So who would be the best to explain this to us, Greg or John?
Probably me, because I'm with the PCHDC, and I'm the chair of the PAHC, the Purchase Area Housing Corporation. What it is the Purchase Community Housing Development Corporation is a subsidiary of the Purchase Area Housing Corporation, and actually owns Hawthorne Apartments They're wanting to divest themselves of all ownings, all properties. And in doing so, we've worked with Kentucky Housing Corporation, which had some funding. They are willing to forgive the money owed if the PCHDC or the PAD will actually demolish the Hawthorne apartments because they're in such bad shape. And they're to give them to a nonprofit. And so the city, if the city would like to, they could take that property after it's been demolished and use it for multifamily housing, or work with private entities or individuals to come up with something for multifamily housing on that property. So it's basically, the city would just have to come up with, whoever is going to develop it would have to have some sort of a proposal to build multifamily housing back on that property. But the city can get it for free otherwise. After it's been.
Sorry, if the city did take the property, if they found a nonprofit developer that wanted to do that, could we just transfer it over to them?
I believe so. Yeah, that's my understanding of it. I'll get some full clarification, but it would have to be on a process. It couldn't be just say, okay, here, you do it.
No, I understand that, but I mean, we would be able to, with the proper verification, everything, that we could do that. And I just want to clarify, is that the brick building that's multi-storied? Is that the Hawthorne ones, or are they
has the garage out back? Yes.
Okay.
Nita, we can, cities can dispose of property for economic development purposes. And so if, for instance, a developer wanted to come in and say, okay, I'll build, this building, Section 8 housing, individual, whatever, something that was beneficial to bringing families into the city and providing housing, upgrading, then the city could consider that economic development. And what we would probably, it's much like many of the Fountain Avenue projects that they did in Paducah. We would just have to contract with those developers to build X, and then make sure that what they did with it was economic development for the city.
Right.
So it's doable, but you just have some hoops to jump through.
And this is not we're signing the paperwork. This is just saying we are interested and would consider, based on their proposal, agreement to take it over after it's been raised properly.
So what we're really talking about, if council desires, is for the city to send them a letter and to basically that we would take title and that we do intend to bring it up into low cost housing units via some way. That's what you're looking for, right, John?
Just something, yeah, affordable housing units, yes.
I'm in favor of doing that. We've talked about trying to come up with some kind of program like Fountain Avenue or something like that before, and that's just my opinion, but I would like to send the letter to them. Hi, Kevin.
Has anybody else got any comments or thoughts on accepting this opportunity to hold this property until we can find the next use?
Well, it's using words like, ideally, and make effort. So does it have to be apartments?
That is their preference. I'm not going to say that that's a given that it has to be, but they would like to see something that would be similar, maybe a multifamily. It might not, apartments.
So maybe duplexes would be acceptable.
Well, it does possibly. That does specify in here. It does actually say construct a multi-housing unit, such as a fourplex.
Well, as an example, it says that, but then it uses the terms like ideally and make effort.
I understand.
So,
And
if we were married to that.
I think we're just
This is-
expressing interest now, right?
This is interest now. This is not the final agreement. But yes,
Well,
I think that it is possible, Tanara. I really believe that they just basically, I know they want to move it and get it out off their plate because they don't need to be in the housing property ownership anymore. And I think they're going to give some leeway, honestly, as to what we can actually do with it. But they do want housing on it.
Okay, yes, I definitely think we need housing on it. I love the idea of us showing interest.
So checking with my handy dandy little app, that's a 3/4 acre lot. So it's not huge. That actually seems a little small in that indication, but that's what we have.
I think,
John, one thing also, I think that what they're wanting to ensure is that someone wouldn't come in there and make a profit off of it after they had given it to the city. I think that's their goal, and I
I
understand.
think that's a fair assumption, yes.
does Roger Lentz own the property right in front of it?
There's not anything in front of it.
I was thinking there was a circle grass.
There
Maybe-
is, I think that Evan, at least was it, and what I'm looking at right now is not official, but Evan has a lot between this property and the circle portion of that road.
Yeah, that's correct.
So these are the ones that are on the corner of Hawthorne and 6, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
It's a brick building that has been sheathed in vinyl.
Right.
Okay.
I think that the brick were spalling off of the thing at some point, but regardless, it's going down, and so the cost of demolition will be taken care of before we receive it.
Right.
Okay. So any other discussion on the matter?
I'm in favor of it.
Okay. Well, so we
I
talked
make
to
a
the
motion
letter,
that we move forward with a letter
present interest.
to place interest. Yes.
Second.
To that motion. All right. All in favor, say aye with a thumb up.
All right.
All right. Passes unanimously. Okay. So going to circle back into something that shows up as a one-liner, consider bid for carnival rides. And we had in the council packet a bid tabulation of one bid. And I gave Blair appropriate warning that she was going to be put on the spot here. So Blair's going to kind of explain what's going on here. Now, this is part of the celebration planned for our 150th anniversary. Sesquicentennial, correct?
You got it. You got it.
So, Blair, what is this?
Within the 70,000, I think that's what the bid was for. They would include a 50-foot Ferris wheel, a carousel. Yeah, you can see what
Is that
John's
helpful?
holding up. The 50-foot carousel, or 50-foot Ferris wheel, the carousel, and then a ticket booth, a trackless train, and a game trailer. The game trailer would have several games in it, just like a carnival would. And the trackless train is obviously it can go on a path. And the idea is to have it set up behind Doctors Park, behind the Civic Center. So it would actually go down to the railroad tracks and make that loop. And then back, so the kids would be able to ride that. The carousel obviously is a carousel. Ferris wheel is a Ferris wheel. All of these are things that the mayor and I talked about prior to his passing, and it's exciting. That I think I talked to 2 or 3 different carnival companies, and that's pretty standard for what they've priced us. And the good thing is all of it is brand spanking new. It's only been used a handful of times, so that's nice too. We're not getting some kind of rickety, overused carnival equipment. Having that new equipment is nice. They don't use any of our power. They would use their generators. They supply all of their own employees as far as ticket booths and people to run the games. They supply all of the toys that go in the games. And, it's kind of just a all in one package. It's pretty nice. So.
And that's like mobilization, demobilization, all that too.
That's right. And they are a Kentucky company, which I think is pretty awesome. The other place that I looked at was in South Carolina, and that was one of the other closest places. But they did not get a bid in for that.
What's our budget?
Yeah. We don't have a budget.
You're a great straight man, Jeremy.
Yeah.
So I'm going to interject here a little bit. So Blair was working closely with Mayor Jones on bringing this vision to pass, and as we know, she's starting to make some press releases, and a lot of hard work starting to peek its way out around the corners. So this is like one of the first steps. So they had put together, in this year's budget, 2021, Blair had an allotted amount of money that she was going to work at as far as developing this. Now the actual event is at the very beginning of the 21-22 budget. Okay. So go ahead, Blair. This is for next year's budget money. I guess there's a down payment this year.
Right. So I had budgeted $40,000 for this year because I knew that there would be things that would come up that we would have to pay for. The mayor, I know he prepared us early whenever we first started talking about this a year ago, that it wouldn't be cheap. And I haven't had a chance to talk with Gene and update him on where I'm at. But with the carousel, that would be our most expensive ticket, so that we'd have to pay 50% of that, and that would be $35,000. So that means $40,000. I'd have $5,000 left out of that budget. Then the remainder would come out in the new year.
So let me just one quick question about the stuff itself. So that's the price for them to come set up. Obviously, like the games cost from the ticket booth, I assume. Does everything cost, or are any of these, is the Ferris wheel free to the citizens? Is anything free?
No, nothing's free.
Okay.
So we're going to pay them to come make some money off of us?
Pretty much, yeah.
In early discussion.
That's a great question, Kevin.
I didn't.
Yeah, so they'll be set up on Friday starting at 5 until 8, then all day Saturday and all day Sunday. They'll close up right at the fireworks. So that's 2.5 days of the carnival rides.
Do we know their pricing?
I don't know what their pricing is. When I talked with them earlier, we had talked about pricing, and there was a certain price in there that we wouldn't have to, that the rides would be free. But he said that it's really difficult to do free rides because when you do free rides, people tend to just overrun you. So my suggestion is that maybe we could purchase a allotted amount of tickets and hand those out, maybe to the elementary school where they get, a certain amount of free rides to ride. And then even, if our local businesses wanted some too, if they sponsor the event. Now, the other thing that the mayor was working on sponsorships and getting, businesses to sponsor certain things. I met with West Kentucky Rural Electric and Jackson Purchase and they've agreed to provide all of our safety stuff. So our social distancing signs and our hand sanitizing stations. So that's just a step in the right direction. I think other sponsorships will fall in. I haven't heard from the plants, and I think that the mayor was banking on the plants taking a big chunk of this event. So we'll see.
Okay, one of the things, and this may have been totally that I misunderstood. I was sort of had in my head that $40,000 was going to cover the whole event. That
no, when the mayor talked about it with the council, he said it was going to be around 150,000.
I don't remember that, but
Yeah, I'm not saying I have a problem with the price. I was just thinking, and it sounds like you have some ways around it, hopefully with sponsorships. I just didn't want that to come here and then it be cost prohibitive to people that come.
Sure. And you know what? The other things that wouldn't be cost prohibitive outside of the carnival, you have the petting zoo and inflatables that don't have a price. And then also, obviously free music and entertainment too.
Let me ask you, Blair, what if the weather, we had storms and rain and they couldn't set up, do we get a refund?
I don't know. I'd have to look at
Linda
has the the bid. I don't know what it looks like, what the contract says.
Yeah,
I think that
that would be something I'd want to know. I don't want to be a spoil sport about any of it, but with COVID and, we've lost one plant and stuff, we may not get all that sponsorship. And I just.
John has the contract. He's reading it right now.
I do think this isn't just a regular fall festival or anything. This is a big event and the plants are a big part of the history. And so I do tend to think you could get some support.
And I wondered if we might ask them if they would allocate us so many free tickets. If we paid $35,000, that they would give us free tickets. Then they wouldn't be overrun, but we might have a benefit. Just a thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the Good Neighbor Night group was thinking of ways to give away money last year because they didn't have the event and they had this big pile of money. So I'm not saying that's going to be the case again this year, but.
And that was the sanitizers. That's how we came up. That's how we seized on the idea of sanitizers going to the school systems and all. I think everybody.
I mean, Gina, probably pretty good in the plant manager meetings that you get in on if the mayor's beating the drum for some money.
Well, you're a great straight guy. With Lynn's recent passing and the events leading up to that, I feel like we're kind of throwing Blair to the wolves without a sponsor here. The vision of the 150-year celebration was presented to council as being a big deal and something that he was really high on and trying to come up with the whole plan and get the community support behind it. And I share that view. 150 years is a big deal. I can, let me look around here. There's some other people on this call with me, Greg and Nita, who remember the 100-year. I barely can get in there. It was a fun and neat event. And I think there's some community support that's yet to be garnered and put together. Now, the crux of the situation is that I've never been on a fair board. I don't know what a good price is for, doing these sorts of things and whether this is a great price or not. So let me check for this. So who keeps the ticket sales? So $70,000 to get them here. And then the ticket sales defray that cost?
They're in addition to.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know what it says.
In addition to, please explain.
In other words, the $70,000 is the cost to have the equipment brought here, set up, and manned. The tickets are in addition to. Cost for tickets and rides is in addition to that fee.
Vendor keeps those.
So 35,000 would be required up front. Then 45 days prior to our event, or May 18th, the balance would be due. Articles or Section 7, certain entertainment attractions or activities that may be provided for in this agreement cannot operate safely in adverse weather conditions. In the event that Funtime Products LLC makes a reasonable effort to provide contracted entertainment attractions or activities, but is prevented or delayed in doing so due to adverse weather conditions, no refund is available to client and shall not void terms of contract. There'll be no adjustments or prorates to contract price. All safety precautions will be taken in the event of adverse weather, and the rides will be shut down until the operator determines that it is safe to resume operations of the ride.
We've had some stormy 4th of Julys.
Could we rebid?
I mean, yeah, you can rebid. I don't mean to put you in a bind on this, but to book this, we almost need to do it fairly quick, because otherwise we may lose. The Ferris wheel is the thing that's hard to find. Correct, Blair?
Actually, the carousel.
Carousel?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, misunderstood you. Okay. All right.
I probably said Ferris wheel, but I meant carousel.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I mean, not that it's the same at all, but maybe if we know anyone involved in Benton with their Tater Day Carnival group, I don't know, it could be a sanity check at least, if that's in the reasonable ballpark.
Well, I wanted to ask Blair. I mean, she's gone down this route and she's talked to multiple people, and of course she's not been at it for 20 years in a fair board either. But I mean, do you feel comfortable with the work that you've done and feel like this is a fair bid, if you will?
In the other company that I reached out to that was in South Carolina, the price was very much the same. In fact, they were charging, I think, $40,000 for the Ferris wheel, which was cheap. It's cheaper than what Fun Times quoted us. I think theirs was 26. Is that what it was? 26,000. Yeah. Now, with the Janskys, they did not have a carousel, so that's probably why they did not do a bid. If you wanted to reconstruct what we're getting, then yeah, I think that we should look at another bid. And I just got a text from him so I can know. Okay, here we go. A little bit more. This is from Mike, Fun Times. We were providing rides at no cost. We were only charging for games and keeping the revenue from the games since we are supplying the prizes. So all of the rides are free except for the game.
Oh, well, that changes things in my mind.
That makes
definitely.
Okay, sorry. I'm glad we clarified that.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure that it has nothing to do with Blair's work. I think she's doing a tremendous job. I
don't take this to heart, Nita. It's okay.
It's just the situation being what it is. I want it to be nice, but I also don't want to hear complaints about how much it costs, because I don't mean I don't want to hear complaints, but I think that there are people who maybe are having a hard time would see that would be a frivolous thing for the city to spend that much. That's the only, and I love kids. It's not that I don't want it.
I mean, I think between the actual rides being included and
I like that,
maybe getting some sponsorships to hand out some tickets to the school. I mean, I would not expect games where you can win prizes to be free. I would expect to pay something.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it sounds great.
Yeah.
Kevin and Chris, y'all got to talk.
To me, this is a once in a lifetime. Oh.
I'm just kind of taking it all in before I say anything. I was going to ask you questions about the rides and stuff like that. And I joined a little late, so I didn't want to chime in too much. But I think it's a great idea. That's an awful big chunk of change to throw out. And I do understand it is a once in 150 years. I'm not going to live to see the next one. So
I mean, it's 3 days worth of
it is
labor.
it is 2.5 days worth, really.
Yeah.
I'm kind of more for that. I'd really like to see a sponsor so we could hang a good banner down there.
Me too.
That would be.
Well,
if it's just a small portion of it, would make me feel a lot better.
Blair's guaranteeing us some sponsors.
I'm going to do my best. That's for sure.
Chris, go ahead.
Well, I think since the rides are included, that does ease that $70,000 number up quite a bit. But still, like Kevin said, this is 150 years, and the mayor was already pretty much planning on this, I think, before he passed.
And I'll get the budget to Jean, and then we'll discuss it, and then I'll send it out to you guys so that you can see what it looks like.
I'll be totally honest with you. When I saw that, and Blair and I talked about it briefly, my first inclination was to kick this can down the street a little bit until I got a better handle on what's going on. And the issue is that this date is a very important date. I mean, it is the July 4th, and this company's got options, and she's done a lot of work. So we're putting together an event. Now, bear in mind that the mayor had given Blair a directive of we're going to have $40,000 this year out of this budget, and he had found a place where he thought it was going to come from in the budget line items that was passed by the council. And then we're going to go into next year's budget, and there's going to be some more money that was possibly as high as $150,000. And Nita, I remember being big, and I do remember a number that was those kinds of digits, but that's not in the budget yet. Okay, so here's our deal. We're trying to plan a big deal, and we're in between the budget years. But to get the ride thing, we've got to pledge allegiance to that and go ahead and confirm it to get that as the kind of the bare bones. And there's other stuff going on. There's a lot of potential for some sponsorships, and I think honestly, we don't know that we're behind schedule due to the leadership has to be expressed and get out there and bang on some doors and see what we can pick up. And so thank you for handing me this opportunity to get out and network with communities, citizens. So I don't know what do we need is we need I guess some understanding that when we sign this contract to have these rides come in, this is going to be the first major expenditure, and the rest of them are going to have to come forward. And Blair's got some stuff roughed out, maybe better than roughed. Maybe that's too rough a term, but she does want to cover that with me before we go on. So I guess I'm looking to gauge the council's willingness at this point and I hate it's not really taking a chance. I mean, I think it's going to be well received and be well attended. That is a 4th of July. The 4th is on a Saturday, correct? Sunday. Okay. So it's a weekend 4th, and if the weather gods hold, we usually have a large crowd, and then the unknown of the COVID deal in there, which stymied us last year in our the biggest celebration that this community does. So
what would they do in that event if it was COVID related? Would we get a refund?
I'm not sure.
I mean,
I haven't seen the contract.
Yeah.
I don't have it.
There's no gathering restrictions right now, and vaccines are rolling out, so I don't see that regressing.
Yeah, I really don't either. And I've really gone to the extreme as far as planning with safety, with our vendors being 10 feet apart on either side, and a lot like the Christmas bazaar, where they're spread out. I don't foresee us having 73 vendors, but if we do know that our park will hold it. And honestly, the only thing that has my concern as far as COVID being COVID related is the indoor museum, a place where you could come in and take a walk through kind of the past of a timeline over the last 150 years. That might not be able to happen, but in the design process, we'll make it where it's mobile so that you can go inside or outside. It can be moved inside or outside. I don't really see that happening with especially with the vaccines going out as they are. But I assure you that I'll be prepared to kind of ebb and flow however we need to follow the protocols of the time being.
Okay. So, as far as reaching a place where we can feel comfortable moving on to the next item, I'm gauging some concern, and I'm gauging a fair amount of support. Has anybody else got anything else they want to say on this item?
I mean, do we need to make a motion to accept this bid to lock up this vendor?
You need to accept it or deny it. You have the right to deny any and all bids. This is, of course, this is the only one we've got based on that. So
It sounded like everybody really liked the idea that it was for 2.5 days and the rides were free. So I'll make an emotion to accept it.
Yeah, I'll second.
Okay. All in favor,
Thank you,
say
Blair.
aye.
Aye.
Aye, thumbs up. All right, hello. Okay. All right, it passes. And thank you guys. I mean, this is the first step in trust. And there's a lot more to communicate and to learn and to kick the tires and the level of community support. I believe that this has the potential to be one of those memorable occasions. And I agree with Kevin. I'm not going to see this one again. So I won't see the 200.
I'll tell you about
you tell me about it when you see me. Maybe I will see. Okay. That takes care of the full list of new business, and we can move on to the routine reports, etc. So, marketing director's report.
Okay.
As long as we got Blair up and talking.
I know.
Oh, hold on, Kevin. What?
Hi, Kevin. Or hi.
I'm leaving. I'll see y'all later.
Okay, Kevin.
See you, Kevin.
I'll talk to
Have fun.
Blair if I want her report. Sorry, I had an emergency. I couldn't get away with one of my kids, so I apologize to everyone.
No worries.
You're good.
Thanks for coming in when you can.
Yep.
So I really only have one thing to talk about, and that is today I received an email from Troy Hearn, who works with Bike Walk Kentucky, and he has a lot to do with the pedestrian plans and projects. And as of today, Calvert City was selected to be a part of an in-depth research project to highlight the positive effects on pedestrian and biking infrastructure.
Awesome.
So Calvert, and this is the statewide, so Calvert City, along with Moorhead and London, Kentucky, those will be the three sites that were selected for the project and the research. And yet again, Calvert's being recognized statewide, and I think that's pretty awesome. And that just just good job to you guys.
When's that supposed to take place, Blair? You have a time frame?
I don't have a time frame yet. Nope. That was just the initial email congratulating us. So.
Moving right along. Projects report from Mr. Ward.
Okay, we have received paperwork for you to sign. I don't know if you've seen it yet or not. Moving forward with our transportation alternative program funding that has been released from the National Highway Administration so that we can actually start working on the right-of-way acquisitions. So they've released that. It needs your signature to move forward. right now we're working on some drainage issues, but that's kind of where we stand on projects.
That's the pathway along Lone Valley Road.
That is correct. Yes, that would be for the working toward the completion of that one.
Okay.
We are going to be working on this year's mowing for the upcoming year. We'll be adding 62s right away from the interchange out to the traffic island at 641, 282, up in that area. Trying to think here. Airport, the roof is done. Cupola's up. The fuel, both avgas and Jet A, and I may be taking Tim's fire there. Sorry, buddy. Both have been delivered. We are in right now. The avgas is in its testing phase, and the Jet A is just started today. So we may be selling fuel for aircraft here in the next 10 days to 2 weeks, something like that. They've poured, again, the second pad for the second hangar. I think they've got, I'll leave it at that because Tim's on here. We've winterized the fountain. That's taken care of. And right now, basically, we're doing some catch up on stuff. We're working on the radio building, working on that building, working on the electrical, the lighting, the fencing, trying to get it up to snuff. We're going to actually close in an area where an air conditioning unit had been in the wall. We're going to close that in. Bob's been out there working on that, trying to straighten the fence up, fix it up.
Right, that was a radio building.
Yes, that's the radio building. We want to consider right now, the generator has been tested, but it is a hand start. We want to consider sometime in the next year's budget, maybe putting in a small Generac or something like that that would automatically crank if they lost power. It all kick in. That way the radios don't stay down.
It's going to be gasoline or natural gas.
Natural gas, maybe even a dual fuel possible.
The one down there now is what type?
I think it's just a gas or diesel powered.
Okay.
That's kind of where we are with most of the stuff going on right now. It's winter time. And so we're doing inspections and doing fixes on this, that, and something else. Small items that get pushed to the side because we've got the bigger items in the spring, summer, and the fall. So that's kind of where we're at. We got plenty to keep us busy. At some point, I've got to meet with HDR again and with you just to go over some stuff on the future of the stormwater detention basin. And Brad, am I missing something here?
Not that I can think of.
Okay. All right. All right. Okay. That's, I think that's pretty much the report as far as we go. And I'll let Tim go into more detail on the airport. Budget is looking good overall at this point. None of the departments are overexpended or overstretched on their expenditures, and the revenues are in good to, I guess, very good at this point in time. So far, we're actually doing relatively decent on the revenues. Matter of fact, we have several that are actually coming in better than we thought. Insurance premium tax. Of course, we're getting CARES funding in. Zoning is up. Some of the small stuff, ABC's up. So I mean, we've actually done better in some of those areas than we thought we would be for this time this year. So at this point, I don't see any major issues with the budget.
Okay, does anybody got any questions for John? No questions for John. So we're going to move on to the last item on the written agenda. And I'm going to ask Mr. Haskell if he's ready, since he's thoroughly versed in Calvert City's issues as a community and how well we're doing. Are you ready to move to Calvert yet, Tim?
I haven't started packing yet.
Okay. Well, I know we can probably put you in some contact with some property around here and get you started in the right direction.
Okay, I will take that in as a priority consideration.
Okay. Well, with that said, how about an airport update?
Just the only thing I would add about the fuel is it's my understanding, and PPM indicates that there's one more level of training while the fuel is in place being tested. They will be in touch with John to make sure that that training is complete so that you can begin fuel sales on or about the 18th of the month. The T-Hanger project is going well, but for a little bit of comedy last week, apparently, that turned out okay, but had the potential of being quite expensive for the contractor. They got one of their concrete trucks stuck in a precarious position. So, but both pads are ready. The contractor, Full Fab, the company that manufactures the hangar, is also going to construct the hangars. So those should go up fairly quickly. For those of you that have friends with airplanes that want to put them inside a hangar at the airport, I think a good target date at this point is May 1st. However, I will caution that target date right now is dependent on when the asphalt plants open for the spring and summer construction, because the asphalt around the hangars will need to be put down and marked before the hangars are actually open. But it appears at this point that the construction of the hangars will be completed prior to the asphalt plants opening. So right now, a good target date is on or about May 1st for occupancy of the hangars. And finally, Keith and I have put together a capital investment plan for the next 5 years for the state of Kentucky. As you know, the technicality is the state still owns the airport, and they are the only recognized sponsor by the FAA. So they must submit a capital investment plan, capital improvement plan, depending on what you think the I stands for. I have a draft of that John reviewed. It is now before the state, and we expect the state to concur with that CIP this week. I will have copies for the council on or about a week from Friday, so that you may review it, and I'll be available at the next council meeting to answer any questions you have about the next projects for the next 5 years.
When is the CIP due? Is there a due date in the cycle for that?
It's due in February. It's due now. But we will certainly take your input before we send the final version.
Everything that's in that has been items that were discussed and were on the list that we've already been looking at. Wildlife fence, box hanger for a FBO, AWAS.
Another T-hanger.
Approach. I'm sorry.
Another T-hanger.
another T hanger. So all the stuff that we've got in there are things that have actually been broached in the past to move forward. So there's nothing really, it's a surprise in there. And we also have, I think I've told maybe one or two of you, but it looks like all of our hangers are spoken for. Right now, we've got all 21 of them spoken for.
Hangers to hanger and waiting list before they're built.
Yep.
That's pretty good.
It's a very good sign.
We got a very good location to do general aviation in. I mean,
Absolutely.
Airport remained popular all these years when they're, as a destination, and now you can actually stay there. I mean, goodness, it makes good sense.
Right.
You got anything else, Mr. Haskell?
I do not. Thank you.
All right. So,
Other than congratulations on your appointment.
thank you.
Or condolences. I'm not sure which sometimes, but.
I think it's a great opportunity. So congratulations. We'll pick that one.
Okay.
Okay. All righty. With that said, that depletes our agenda for tonight. And this is where we typically go through the council members and say if there's a particular issue we need to add or a point of conversation. So I will start that routine off with Mr. Harrington, the Honorable Mr. Harrington.
Well, it's scary. No, I have nothing. I have nothing to add other than congratulations to Eugene. I think you'll do a fine job.
Thank you. And now that I know who to turn to for correction on the Robert's Rules of Order, I've got your phone number. I'm ready to. I'm ready to go. So okay, Nita, Honorable Ms. Hell.
I just wanted to clarify for the people interested in the position for the vacancy on the council, should they contact John? Should there be a point person at City Hall?
I left that open for you guys. I mean, this is the situation. The council's for it, but when they call, John will cover with Glenda on what happens there. I mean, that to me, they can take a name and send a letter to Dear Council and send a letter if they're so inclined.
I'm just wondering but should we have just one person for them to tell instead of if maybe they told one of the girls and they forgot to pass it on? That's what I'm asking.
Glenda?
I would like for them to send the letters. They can contact me, that's fine. But I would like the letters to go directly to the city clerk. She's a keeper of the records. That way, just care of, to the city council, care of the city clerk. P.O. Box 36.
I'm sure we'll tell everybody down in the office what to do with those phone calls. Where's John? Get John. Okay. Nita, you have it
in, or do they have to be mailed in? If the meeting's next week, I just worry that the mail might not get there.
Oh, that's a good point. That's a good point.
Right.
They can be emailed, I would say.
Okay, so you email
It might be
Glenda.
easier to do it that way. You can use Glenda's email or mine, either one, I guess. I'll forward it on to her if I get it.
Got a Christmas card last week at work. Nita, do you have anything else?
No, that's all.
Okay. All right. The Honorable Ms. Babcock.
I don't have anything.
Nothing. Okay. All right. Okay, Mr. Rowe. Honorable Mr. Rowe.
Just besides, I can't wait to tell my kids we bought a Ferris wheel.
Bought. The vendor's still listening.
No, I'm good.
Okay. Well, we did hear from Brad one point. So I guess we're done with the agenda, and I certainly appreciate your patience on my shakedown cruise. I've got no place to go but up. I think a lot to learn. I have spent some time talking to some people, and you start thinking about, okay, how do I get the introductory session? And you start planning that on the calendar, and that in itself takes some time. So looking forward to it. And one of my big educational things is going to be with Blair. So maybe we can have a report out on that as well. Okay. All right. With that said, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Say aye. Aye. All right. I appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
See y'all.
Night.
Bye-bye.
See
See
y'all.
y'all.
Thank you,
Good
Blair.
night.